hold the phone, is there another injury to Tyler Skaggs that I'm unaware of? But right now, it seems to be all systems go, which is kind of peculiar that he's being drafted as the 95th pitcher, 335th overall. That's in the 28th round. I don't know if all your drafts even go 28 rounds. So he might even be going undrafted in some of your leagues. I mean, if you're going to take a gamble with a potential ace who has injury concerns, has battled injuries his whole career, give me as many Skaggs as you can. This guy is good. And that window I talked about earlier, it's almost been slammed shut by popular opinion on this guy. He was a top 10 prospect a few years back, which is rarefied air. And now it seems like he's been forgotten about. When he started his rehab process, he was lights out. He was dominant in the upper levels of the minors. He came up, had some mixed results. Once he got to LA, to Los Angeles, which is his current team, he still got high K numbers with good peripherals. And again, he's had spells of absolute dominance in his recovery from Tommy John, which again, it shelved him for the entire 2015 season. So this guy is just starting to come back, just starting to get his legs back under him. His biggest hurdle has been his inflated walk rate since the surgery, but historically it was never that bad. I'm all in on a guy like Skaggs, and this is a guy you can get absolutely on the cheap. So in talking about Skaggs as compared to the other lefty, we started the show with Matz. I'll take 15 of Tyler Skaggs all day over a Steven Matz. Am I way too optimistic?
No, I think it depends upon the price tag. Yeah, I like Skaggs' price tag a lot more than I like Matt's. I don't think that Skaggs has ever been, at least in terms of his major league career, on the level that Matt's has touched. Matt's has had points where he's been absolutely dominant. You know, his ERA is low threes, you know, throughout his career. Skaggs is a guy that he doesn't have elite control. The swing and miss stuff, it almost seems like the strikeouts are better post Tommy John surgery. I don't know if he's out of a little funk. He's certainly got his velocity back, which is a great sign. The thing with Skaggs, too, is he's had a lot of injuries throughout his career. He's had control issues. And you have the Tommy John 2014. While rehabbing the Tommy John, he actually had a shoulder injury. So he doubled up in multiple injuries in his throwing arm. He's another, strong lefty. So there's some big question marks. And I think that's indicative of the price tag. Now, on the other side of the coin, velocity is back. He's had, somewhat subpar swinging strike rates throughout his career, but he has been getting more swings and misses. And, I think that he's a good gamble to take. He's in a pitcher's ballpark there in Anaheim. He's been, what we've heard is he's unquestioned going to be at least one of the 4 starters in that rotation. So it was Garrett Richards, which is another Angels pitcher that's rehabbing from an injury. So Skaggs is a guy that I've seen him go late in drafts. I've, had him in my queue a lot and just haven't been able to pull the trigger on him. Someone's taken him before me. So I certainly, echo your sentiment that he's a good value this year and somebody I'd take a chance on. And the price tag's a lot lower than Matt's, and you could potentially expect a breakout or him jumping back to where he was. Hopefully the K per 9 stuff throughout a full season is better than what it was in 2014. Skaggs is somebody that I'm willing to take a shot on, though, absolutely.
An interesting side note, maybe interesting. He has no relation to Boz Skaggs. Some of you may know Boz Skaggs, the musician. No relation. No, this is the whole point with Skaggs to me, and it's, you mentioned the swinging K rate stuff. It's not elite. It's not somebody that you normally would see with a guy who averages nearly a strikeout per inning.
Or
more, right. So to me, it just shows that he knows how to pitch. He's a crafty guy that doesn't rely on overpowering stuff to be able to generate those strikeouts, which kind of makes me feel a lot more comfortable with him coming back, seemingly to be healthy from these injuries that have plagued him in the past. You mentioned he's in a pitcher's ballpark. He is unfortunately in the hitters league in comparison to Max, who's in the National League. But I think all systems go, especially for where you can get him. This is a guy that can be a solid contributor to your fantasy team and maybe the ace of the Angels rotation. And you could get him for pennies on the dollar at this point, or at least in redraft leagues. I'm not so sure that dynasty owners are willing to give him up, but
yeah, I think it depends. I think it depends, how good, at least with the ace stuff, it depends how good Richards is and if Schumacher can potentially replicate some of his success last season. And one thing I want to say on Skaggs is I think that the strikeouts are as good as they are because of how well he uses that changeup. That's his best secondary pitch. It's probably his best pitch. So I think that's probably the reason that he's able to get those swings and misses.